Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good. Wait, where's the background? There we go. All right. Good day, everyone, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. And that is going to mean a lot during this show today. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly podcast series, The Séance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Mekas. This is your first time tuning in. Please click like, subscribe, comment, share, and also don't forget to follow us on any of those down there podcasts. Secret Space Program. MK Ultra, a visionary starseed, natural-born clairvoyant healer, mediumistic abilities, along with having many gifts. She is a 3-time award-winning best-selling author, experiencing multi-dimensional contact since she was a child. This contact includes interactions with over 20 extraterrestrial beings and many other dimensional beings. When she was a teenager, she was abducted into the MK Ultra secret space program in Black Ops. She has currently written her testimonial in Abducted into the Secret Space Program and Black Ops, which is available on Amazon.com. Let's welcome back to the show, Gloria Haas. Welcome back, Gloria.
Thank you, Paul, for having me.
You're very, very welcome. So I decided to have different backgrounds for the podcast, depending on the type of shows that we do, because we talk about all kinds of stuff on this show, and I think that's fitting. I mean, look at that. For those who are listening, you definitely tune in to watch us on YouTube or on our Rumble channel. So, anywho,
it's very fitting with the alien and the UFO. Yes, the spacecraft.
So I want to start having some of these shows, not like an interview type style, informal, more of a discussion. But this is very intriguing because there's a lot that has been transpiring within the global consciousness lately, and in a lot of non-mainstream news channels as well as mainstream news channels. But let's talk about your book today, and let me bring that up on the screen so people know what to look for.
Yes.
So take us back in time a little bit, into not giving too much information away because otherwise people wouldn't buy the book, but let's go back in time as far as how and why you started wanting to write all this stuff down into the making and creating of this book.
Well, I knew that I would eventually write my story about working for the federal government. And I had been searching for a year and a half, well, actually quite a long time, since 1974, when I graduated high school. Why did I miss my junior year of high school? No, hardly any memory of it at all. And it's not from being blocked out. I've been through years of therapy. I've done regression therapy. Nothing came up. I did EMDR therapy with the regressing, and nothing came up with that either. And therapists could not understand it. But when I was talking with someone in the beginning of August of 2024, they said, I was explaining to them, because I was directed to them, and I was explaining to them about some things that were happening. And they said, that's secret space program. And they were telling me what part of it. And I mean, I thought I was having just weird dreams. And they're like, no, these are, some of them are recall memories and some are actually happening directly in time. So I started the beginning of August writing my book. And after 3 weeks working on it, 6 hours a week actual typing, and also some days it was like, instead of an hour, it was like 2 to 3 hours. So it ended up being more time a week, 6 days a week, that I finished this in 3 weeks. And it was the perfect timing, I was told. I also heard from the ETs, the benevolent grays, now is the time to get your story out, because I was finishing up Disclosure from the Galactic Realm, and I thought, oh, good, I can just relax promoting that book when they're like, Gloria, look at your health. And at the time, back in May of 2024, I've had pernicious anemia since my 30s and mid 30s and stuff. And the doctors thought that was early, but that had to do with my, whatever thought I was pumped through when for the government, that when I was in my early, I was 19 to 20 when I worked for them. And I thought, my health isn't getting any better. I'm pushing late 60s. And it's like, now's the time. And with the anemia, one of the side effects is you feel like you're dying. And I really thought I was dying. So after being on the vitamin B12 supplement, because my body is not producing enough red, blood cell, bone marrow coming from my bone marrow, that's why the B12 supplement, I thought, now is the time to get things going. And then after, I think, mid or end of August, I started feeling normal 95% of the time. And I'm like, okay. And I had been going into healing sessions. So right around that time, having a lot with Secret Service, the assassination attempt on Trump, and also the FBI's included, and they've been getting in trouble. So is the CIA. So this, I heard, was the perfect time to release my book, because I could at least get under the radar a little bit, or so I thought, because the secret space program, they're retaliating against me, not, and I have a handler with them as well. And they've been, been putting me through some stuff. And that's why I wrote the book now, because I heard it's time to get the word out now. Yeah. And it's also joined a movement about Disclosure Now movement, that all of us are getting together, getting on podcasts, getting interviews to get the word out, so the general public knows that this is not science fiction. This is actually, real life. You may have watched similar stuff in a science fiction movie, but this technology has been around from the extraterrestrials since 1940s.
Yeah. A lot of technology, I feel, has been squelched, has been held back for the public use for a very long time. We should be 100 years ahead of where we are right now. I think even Elon Musk has even said that, along with several other scientists and stuff like that. So,
but when you have the secret space program, the powers that be, the 100 families who are behind it, jumping the timelines, that holds us back and where we should be.
Yeah. As far as these timelines, what are, we discussed this before the show and at other times and stuff like that. But for the sake of content for the show, let's discuss the timeline thing and what's happening with these timelines.
Well, what happens is, this is the powers that be, that if they want to rewrite history, they've done it. That like a huge dignitary, you hear, or actor, you hear that they've died. And the next thing you know, what do you mean they're still alive? And they're putting out a movie about how this person got released from prison and they ruled the country. And you remember watching a movie and hearing in the news that they had died. So that's what they did, was they rewrote that history in that line. And also an actor was declared dead. And next thing I know, I'm watching a movie with him in it, a current movie, a couple of years later. I'm like, I thought he died. So if any of you thought that someone died, and not the fake news that someone has died, you know, for people just trying to get views to make money on YouTube, that they actually did die. And then the timeline was jumped. So when you go to a different timeline at a certain time and jump that timeline, it changes the timing of everything and it affects it. But the timeline doesn't really like people going back too much in time, because it starts wanting to correct itself and saying, no, we need to be a certain way. Yeah. So what they've done is they may be jumping the timeline pretty soon. They have 3 choices of where they can jump the timelines. And this is what a feeling that I'm having, that there's going to be another timeline jump coming up ahead. And I would really hope that the other, you know, that God, the benevolent beings, are ahead of that, to where they can, you know, disrupt that, because they're all having, you know, fires, and they're actually firing each other, not fires, but fighting each other up in the heavens. And people with night vision goggles have actually seen this going on. So, you know, that's what happens with the timelines, and things are changed. And, you know, are they actually speeding up time with the timelines? But then the Bible says that God will speed up the time to save the elect. So it can be a variety of different things. But can people time travel? Yes. And that's all part of jumping the timelines.
Yeah. I've been noticing something within the last several months. I'm not sure when it started. You might be able to validate this and say whether you felt the same thing, as well as some of our audience. I've been feeling distortions. It's hard to explain. It's just it's like energy distortions within, lack of a better word, the time field, the time-space field, to where it jumbles with your memory. It just feels like there's a lot of static. There's a lot of, you can't concentrate. It feels like there's so much going on within the here now time space. And even though if you try to kind of just like disconnect and kind of just, okay, what's going on? It's still there. It's like a buzzing, like this distortion, this heaviness. Does that seem to resonate with the shift? Because right now it seems like it stopped. Like it's kind of like the machine's been turned off, and it's kind of like calming down. There's a cool down period that they're about ready to, like you said, turn it back on, and something's about to happen.
I've heard of some people saying that they wake up extremely tired and have to go back and lay down because energy, they feel off. And one of the people I follow on X, and who follows me, even said there's a loud noise in my left ear, louder than normal, and I can't shut it off. So there is a lot of distortion on all different types of frequency levels that is going on.
Yeah. And I tell you, there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't help either. You know, we're bombarded with so many other different frequencies of radio waves, and I mean 5G, 3G, 4G. There are so many different things out there that are resonating, and we're being bombarded with. It's hard to tell and track anything down to and figure out where it's actually coming from.
They all interplay and react off of each other.
Yeah. We discussed this. I brought this up a couple times to you, as well as some other people, and just general discussions with people that I know and out there. It's like, I always felt that we're we're on this timeline right now that as a collective, all of the human race on this planet, on this timeline, that there is this particular timeline within the human race as a collective that we have a certain time that the collective has to be introduced into the acceptance of extraterrestrial life, that we have never been alone, or that we're not alone, that we're being helped, that we live beside, that we work with, and that it's normal. That there is a timeline that we have to come to a global collective acceptance of this. Do you feel that exists?
It does exist, and a lot of people are getting the message out that you need to accept it, or you're going to be left behind. Or if people say, "Oh, they don't exist," that when it actually happens, it's going to be mind blowing for them. So it's going to happen. They've been around, and there is more disclosure coming out little by little about. They say, oh yeah, they found remains of extraterrestrials with crash sites. More whistleblowers are coming out about it. And some of them are losing their life over it, like some scientists. And also because they're disclosing some other, confidential information, but they believe the public needs to know.
Yeah.
So, yes, if people don't really accept it, then it's their choice. But it's like a mother having two talented and gifted children, but having a difficult time accepting it because it makes her feel inferior.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have anything to do with them. So in accepting the hybrids who are among us, that are being slowly released into society, the extraterrestrials coming and speaking, it has nothing to do with each person and feeling inferior because it's an advanced civilization. No, it has to do with opening up your heart, being kind. Someone is different than you are. And we need it. I would really like to see the human race get out of, people have to walk and talk like me. They have to have the same opinion as I do, where all before that, growing up, when I was growing up, and possibly you're growing up, that people were allowed to be diverse and have diverse opinions without beating each other up, killing each other, and shooting at one another.
Yeah.
But then we also have the people who are here illegally who are taking over people's homes, taking over, hotel rooms, and saying that is completely different. That is a crime. And no matter who is doing it, they should be punished for it. But with the extraterrestrials, they're not going to take your house away. They're here to they're doing their best to coexist with people who are very biased. So, it's just like, let's unite. They want people to be united.
Yeah.
So accept and unite and accept.
Yeah, we can't be part of any galactic society if we continue acting like we are as a collective. It just, like they say, as a group, as a race, we are just vile beings, just very violent, and just vicious, destructive. But individually, love and kindness. It's amazing. It's just, you have one, you have a group of 10 people, you have one person that, their energy is just really off and violent and blah, 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 and it starts to, it's bad. It starts to create the group and stir up the group, and you have bad energy. So.
And it's done on purpose because they're not happy with who they are. They're not confident. They're insecure. And they're also on a negative timeline. They have chosen the negative light instead of the positive light.
Mm. Yeah.
And then they wonder why people don't have anything to do with them. But if they're out and about being destructive, the positive groups, of people, they're going to stay within their positive circle.
Yeah.
They're not going to venture out. And they can do that by phone, by visiting. If they don't want to go out, they can do it by way of internet.
Yeah. Do you feel that the reasoning of that we are going to have to accept this change, that it might be because of something that is in the cosmos, in the solar system, that is threatening our solar system? And it may not be 50 or 100 years, but we're getting close to some sort of threat to our solar system, not just our planet, but that the intervention of other species working with us is because of that something is coming.
Well, somebody had said this very interestingly. I interviewed on my podcast, and he said that someone has the right to protect their property, and that includes other planets.
Mm-hmm.
And if humans start coming up there and starting to take over their neighborhood, they are going to fight back. And then you have all this space junk. Oh, let's have all these satellites go up. That's space junk. That's polluting the space, the internet. And I don't see where that is beneficial with one person ruling that, to be quite honest. And then we have our other space programs of throwing people up into space and then saying, well, I'm sorry, but we don't have anything coming up there. And Elon Musk has to go and rescue them, or they're going to spend the rest of their days up in space. There is something that is missing in all of that. We're going to go ahead and overtake Mars. We're going to take over the moon. We're going to take over Venus or whatever. And then let's go ahead and we see another planet. Let's go and take that one over. But meanwhile, we're going to throw up all these satellites and all this other pollution coming from the exhaust of, a rocket we're putting up in there. But yet here on Earth, we're supposed to be being clean air. Let's fight for clean air, when actually we're polluting. It's all going up. So something will have to give, because we are now interfering with heavenly beings, other species, and other beings, their homes. I know I wouldn't want somebody coming in and blowing poison through my home. Let's call it a pesticide. If it's going to kill a bug, it's going to have detrimental effects on your health as well. Yeah. So that's what we're doing to them. And I believe they're eventually going to kick back, and even the benevolence or the nefarious going to say enough is enough.
Yeah. We're treading a little into their own into their travel space, their territory. Throwing all this stuff up there. I would do it too. It's like the best example, like you said, is like, just imagine that we're the ants. We're the ant. And the human being, the aliens are the human beings, oh, get out of my house. Here you go. You're get off my countertop. Sugar ants.
Take out your bleach cloth and wipe them out.
Right. Yeah, it's this planet's not just ours. It's not just us. We are not the supreme beings. We are not the supreme species on this planet. I've never felt that. This is just, we're lucky to call it home. That's why I introduced into the show the spaceship we call Earth. It's a wonderful spaceship, but I tell you, if we destroy it, we have nothing else. Where are we going to go?
Well, we'll all end up going into other dimensions when we pass. But what are we going to do in those other dimensions? Are we going to be just as mean or nasty when we, go over to that? Are we going to have, evolved more because there are people here who think they're on the positive light when actually their actions aren't that way.
Yeah.
So, the universe knows for sure. And I think there are people who are kidding themselves that they don't think that anything they're doing is wrong, and they think that they are a goodwill messenger. And we actually have goodwill messengers who actually are working very hard on themselves, not being hard, but working hard on themselves, on being nicer, to different, plants and, everything like that. But if our rights are going to be taken away where you're not going to even be able to plant a vegetable garden and have introduced fake meat. They're already introducing it. You can eat bugs. And that's how the 100 families who run this planet and the billionaires who are involved think about us. They just want everything for themselves, and they don't care how many puppies and kittens and monkeys they clone. We're talking bigger than rats and mice who still have a purpose. They're cloning them and using them as food. Oof. Yeah. Wow. So, yes. I don't want to say something that might get us in trouble with YouTube. I'll keep my mouth shut on that one.
We shall not name names. So I'm going to play the Iron Man right now, play devil's advocate, so to speak, and kind of throw out a thought is, and I was thinking about this because somebody had mentioned it months ago, is, when it comes to secret space programs in general and everything being secret, I can't say this, can't say that, blah, 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 that there's some things, do you feel that there are some things out there that just should not be public information? That if everybody knew about it, it would just destroy the purpose, it would destroy the mission, it would destroy a lot. I mean, if it became public information. But at the same time, too, I feel some of this information is in the wrong hands.
Well, the secret space program is all illegally done and done to people against their will, and children against their will. Some with parental consent, some coming through child trafficking, because the women and even the men, they're taught to be sex slaves to the powers that be, to their kinky, perverse way they want to do things. Yeah. And then also they take the person physically and alter their personality to have them doing something physically with a code word. And now that, like MK Ultra, but now with MI Lab, they can use tones through cell phones and somebody on electronics and stuff like that. They can also give you tones in your ears to help you go into that coded space, change to your altered personality, and do what you were trained to do. And it's like go to base, get in and go to base. And or because that happened to me a couple of times. My dad would say, Gloria, if you have a friend on the phone who wants to talk to you, or a girlfriend or a boy, a male friend. I didn't have a boyfriend, but like I said, one of your boyfriends. Yeah. And I would answer the phone and he knew. And the code word was given. And I look at my dad and he shook his head, yes. And I said, okay, I will be there. Hang up the phone. And my dad said, see you when you get home. Don't worry about rushing back. And and then I remember driving in my car to the Air Force Base. And then I remember leaving. But also in the secret space programs, they have the different levels. You have your spies, espionage. They had what they call the Hulk program, which I just heard of. But yesterday I was doing an interview on a podcast that someone said, I remember seeing you in the Hulk program. And I'm just like, what? And they said, yeah, because we weren't given anesthesia. We were as tall as a building. And all I remember is being in a hangar looking down on people on the floor. All this stuff needs to be brought to light because all of this is illegal that the government is doing behind the families who run the country.
Yeah.
And don't say you think it's the president. No, they know what's going on too. And some of them have even utilized the secret space program, because I was in a training session and so were some others where these people were there following the protocol and in the training. So why are they in the training? So they, unless they are devising their own, grandstand on something, or do they feel their life is more threatened when they're in a building? How do you get out when the walls are impenetrable? You can't penetrate them.
Yeah.
That word. And, we are trained in the super space program because we're given superpowers through drugs, through being enhanced, and we can we don't hit our body against it. We hit a fist, the top of our head, the crown of our top of our head. We stay away from the forehead, but right here, this area, and also our feet or our heels. For some reason, we know where to hit it, and I'm sure we have something to spray on it and then hit through, and it breaks through, and we're able to get out. So nothing is impenetrable. Nothing
Can't
is
penetrate.
impossible. Right. Exactly. I know I want to insist on that word.
Right.
But no, yeah, that it is in the wrong hands. And it has been since the 1940s. So all of this started back in the 1940s. Eisenhower knew about it, JFK, Robert F. Kennedy Sr., and you just keep going on down the line. But some people believe that Jimmy Carter, when he was president, did not know about it, and they kept him in the dark. And if you can recall his presidency, they called him a lame duck president because they were tying his hands on everything because he wouldn't play with the program.
Even Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nixon, because there was that story too that he took his buddy Jackie Gleason, was here in Florida. He picked up his friend Jackie Gleason. He's like, get in the car. And then he went out to the base and went through and showed him the bodies. It's like, whoa.
Yep. Exactly. And that's when they set him up with Watergate. And that stuff had been going on for years with other presidents, only they set Nixon up to get caught. But also JFK and his younger brother, Bobby, was assassinated because of the information they knew, and they were going to expose it. And that's why they were killed, is what I believe. Yeah,
and he made it known on the news, to the American people. It's like, taking down the CIA and crumbling it and spreading it into the wind and getting rid of the secret societies and secret. Yeah, he made it now. He told everybody. He told the American people right there right on air. Yeah, national television.
People didn't like it, so he was taken out, and so was his brother.
Yeah. Yeah, it just where do you think where do you see this going? Where do you see, not the book? I mean, we know where the book's going. The book's out there, man. It's wow. It's awesome. I need to read it.
Thanks.
And where do you see the timeline going in the course of the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I believe that the government will probably crumble. The secret space program, they are scrambling to keep things going because I pulled out of 2 simulated programs, and they put me in, I believe, as a test to see, and it was fake setting up with a fake person and fake ostriches and emus. I'm like, what is all of this about? Like in an outdoor arena you usually have for horses.
Yeah.
And I remember being in that arena when I was first in the program to see if I could pull out of the simulation, but it wasn't ostriches and emus. It was, I think, goats and chickens and horses and donkeys, thinking, why am I here? But I wasn't able to question and pull out. Well, this last time I was, so I pulled out of 3, even the test simulation. So what they do is they will pull you back. They first punished me in a simulation. And I said no, because it was pelting down rain on me. And also the wind was howling. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be here. And I was able to pull out. But then they grabbed me, put me in a lab. I'm strapped on a table, and I see lab coats and suits, which is secret space program. And then they went ahead and sent me to Mars. Was in an underground place, but all I remember is waiting to leave, and I see the red dirt looking up out of a crater on Mars.
Yeah.
And it was like, I got the message, we can go ahead and give you stronger meds, we can keep you in, and every time you try to pull out, you're going to be given more drugs. Well, yeah, you're talking about, that's where my health will be concerned, and everyone else. So I believe that in the next 5 years, hopefully, there will be a whistle blown on it. The FBI and the CIA. I don't know if the NSA is in on this, and also know that their branches, military branches, are also in on this, because I was brought in through the Air Force. Some people were brought in through the Navy. So they're all a part of this. So there's going to have to be a major reconstruction of all of that for everyone to say no. And then we have the nefarious, the bad, we call them the bad guys, reptilians. And some people don't like hearing bad and good, but there's nothing good that comes out of that with their underground bases and what they are doing. Something is going to come to a head with all of that. And I don't know right now where the chips are going to fall, because it's just now at the very beginning of the unraveling, and the simulations breaking down, but they're finding out how they can keep them going. Yeah. So I don't know. I would like to see all of that gone, and I would like to see all the victim families of children who have died through this program. They're probably not still alive, or they're, something compensated, or also for the people to be recognized who have been the victims, who are still alive, get reimbursement for all their medical, give them free medical because of it, because they know who it is, they have the names. And it's like, let's do what's right, recognize what's going on, and say, oh yeah, we were doing this, but we're not anymore. Even though they say that now, and they've been saying no more MK Ultra. No, we'll just give the program a different name.
Yeah.
And that's basically, like, now it's MI Lab. So in the next 10 years, I would like to see all of this absolved before I leave the planet to go into my next chapter of energy, which would be my physical shedding of this body. But right now, everything is just too much at the beginning of all the upheaval and people trying to fill in the holes, trying to stop, all of that. They're finding out they can't.
Yeah. During the lockdowns in 2020 into pretty much most of that year, I was seeing all kinds of crazy stuff happening. These secret just videos of these underground caves, dungeons, and whether these videos are real, I don't know. I wish I could find them again. I can't find them, but I remember seeing them. That people were turning in these videos, and these were the whistleblowers that they were showing these creatures that they saw in these underground bases, and they were going after them. They were extracting them. So whether a lot of stuff was happening then, so a lot of the extraction started then, and I guess it's still happening, correct?
Extraction of the extraterrestrials, or
the evil, the bad extraterrestrials, the human harvesting, human body harvesting, and trafficking, and under all these underground places and stuff like that. The extraction is still going on since the lockdown.
Yes, that has to do with human trafficking, as well as probably some offshoots of the secret space program had been, is still going on. They had shut them down, but know that there is so much more out there in the United States and other countries. It would take a lot for all of that to, come to surface and people be let go, because there have been a lot of people who were killed and used for food for the extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for some of our listeners or audience out there in general, you could take this for whatever you will. I mean, whatever. If you have any questions, after watching this or during watching this, ask some questions. If you think that, this is crazy, I don't care. It's a free world. But yeah, if you have any questions and stuff, just reach out, let us know. If you have any questions for Gloria, chime in, make some, have, in the comments on YouTube or Rumble and stuff, you have a question, definitely. But yeah, let me bring up your book again for those who are want to look for it. It is on Amazon. Is it? Well, it will be when this airs, when this broadcast.
It's already it's already up.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
great.
It's been on there for sale since August.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Abducted into the secret space programs and black ops. Yeah. Well, we could probably go on for hours. Definitely. Yep.
Does this mean you want to do another interview about this?
We might. Hey, chapter 2. But before we wrap up the show, what would you like to all have? Yeah, see, I'm lost for words. You got that other word, the impenetrable. See, there you go, impenetrable. Now I can't. What do you have as a takeaway? There we go. What do you have as a takeaway for our audience today?
Be aware of your surroundings. If anything looks off, it probably is. Listen to your gut. Keep an eye on your children, because keep in touch with them, especially if they're minors. Have it to where you know what they're watching. Educate them about this if you feel that they are mature enough to understand it. They may think that, oh, wow, this sounds great. Let's go into it. This program is till death do they part. Also, just know that if you don't give your child enough healthy attention, that they are going to find it elsewhere. And these programs, they prey on kids who are looking for something more, just like a cult does. So just be careful, be aware, and get back into family values and family attention. And if your teenager's like, oh, we don't want to, but it's like, no, this is what we're going to do, but make it fun for them as well, instead of dictating to them or not really caring. And I know single parents have a difficult time with this. They've worked all day and all they want to do when they get home is relax. Yeah. But why not relax and just sit around, the dinner table and talk about these things? If your child's not used to opening up because nothing's been said, give them time. Get back into being a united family, and that they know that you actually love them and care. Instead of just saying it with your words, say it with your actions as well. Yeah, absolutely. Gotta get back to the nuclear family, and with technology nowadays, it's phone and screen time, gaming. It's not at all like it was when I grew up. I was always outside. I had a video game system. I can't stand it. I get so frustrated. I have a very, very, very small attention. I wouldn't say attention span, but I get frustrated really quick, and it's just I can't do that video game stuff for very long. I just like, man, let me go podcast. Well, also, it's not that safe anymore in a lot of neighborhoods for the children to be outside. Yeah. Depending on the neighborhood, you've got gunshots, gangs.
And that was one thing too about as far as gaming. The military has been looking for gamers.
Yep.
I mean, kids that are really good at these games, and they're
Mhm.
using them to control these drones, all these remote systems and stuff like that for either warfare or for whatever. And I heard that from somebody in the military.
Well, yeah, let's release a new thing. Oh, we're going to have a partner on the gaming system. Hey, I've got a new game. Hey, I'll give it to you for free. And actually, they're getting their aptitude, their eye-hand coordination going,
Mhm.
and they're able to play it on the system. They're like, okay, great. And the kids could actually be in real time killing people and not knowing it because it's an interface, digital interface.
Yep. Yep. I think that wasn't that a movie? It almost seems like it would be a movie.
I believe it was, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
That's probably where my recall is coming from, that if they're going to take people in their sleep where they alter their personality, why not do it during their waking time when they're playing these games?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the original one was the original motion picture was War Games with Matthew Broderick. I remember years ago back in the 80s seeing that one. But that an actual video game out there is sold, and then you don't realize it, that it's actually, you are actually in war somewhere in some other country as pilots of these drones that are going in to take over a particular area. It's like, whoa. Yeah, it's scary, and it can with today's technology, it's very possible. So, yeah. Whoa. What say you, everybody? What say you, audience? Let us know what you think. And I do appreciate it. Gloria, namaste. Blessings, my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
Blessings to you and everybody watching, and thank you for joining me on my journey and with Paul, with this journey that we both have shared together.
Yeah. Yeah. And good luck on the book, and keep us posted. And yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot about to go on. So,
Yep.
yeah. Gloria, blessings. Blessings,
Blessings.
blessings. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in to the Séance, Conscious Radio Network, and we will see you next time.